Okay, also going to be about 2 or 3 seconds ahead, just for due to some delays we do have. Alright, so the game, Bleed 2, we'll go over it just a couple more times just for new viewers we do have. So it is a platformer where you play as Rin, the hero. Rin gets 3 dashes. So on the 3rd dash, you want to be dashing towards the ground to reset your dash counter, so you can do 3 more dashes. She can also deflect any kind of purple projectile or object. So if a boss is rushing at you and turns purple, you can deflect the boss and knock them away. Also, it does take quite a few hits there. Good, some decent platforming, but taking some hits will slow them down. The last ability that Rin does have as well is slow time. So the time meter will be underneath the health bar. So Bleed 2 is pretty much a boss rush, almost like a gauntlet kind of situation, with some platforming thrown in. So Alta getting 2 hits first boss, unfortunately does not get a good deflect there, but does land the second one. So it is RNG and whether or not you can deflect for certain parts. Quote getting the deflect and gets a nice one. So the bosses had different abilities, different attacks. Quote getting a lot of really good ones. You want the boss to stay on the screen as much as possible. Going off the screen, you don't get any damage in. So anytime that they stay on the screen, stand still, any kind of deflect, that's what you're looking for. So they're moving on to the last platforming section, which is just a side-scroller. So they're going to be fighting Myrkor. So a couple of attacks you want to watch out for Myrkor that you really want. Anytime he shoots a lot of purple streams, if you can hit the purple stream back into him when it's next to him, that gives you the slash damage and the deflect damage. If he charges at you and turns purple, that's even better. But anytime you get a lot of orange streams, it's not very beneficial to you. Although it is taking quite a few hits here. Good deflect. So normally for deflects like that, where the boss rushes towards you, ooh, Quote does miss his deflect there after a rush in. You really want to get that the deflect towards the end. That way you get all the damage leading up to it. But you don't want to do it quite at the very end, because if you do a little bit too late, you actually don't get the deflect at all, like you saw on Quote screen. Also, we're going to 2nd level. So platforming here a little bit trickier than the 1st level. Does miss a little bit of pathing there, and bosses will not spawn until you kill all of the little dudes. So Alta getting a little bit late spawn for Kitty Chopper. Good deflect. Alta going for the large rocket as well, getting a nice deflect there. Quote now is going to be starting up his Kitty Chopper. Let's see if Quote gets some good deflects. Up, large rocket gets the deflect there. Nice deflect for Quote as well. So Quote getting a lot of good RNG here, not really losing any time from it, and does knock out Kitty Chopper. Alta gonna be starting his Whale Core. So Whale Core is basically your rival driving a giant tank, minus the turret. Alta getting a deflect on the main rocket. So hopefully Quote can catch up a little bit of time here. He has lost a little bit, just due to a little bit of RNG and a little bit of pathing. Thanks for stopping by, Jackets. Always glad to have you here. Quote getting a little smack down there by Whale Core. Another good deflect by Quote. So, Alta's gonna be starting Valentine, the 1st encounter. So Valentine basically has a shield, makes her invincible, but by getting hit by rockets and lasers and all that, it does break the shield. And unfortunately, Rin on New Game, which we are playing, we do not have any rockets, but our rival does on his Whale Core. So we're gonna go ahead and team up here with our rival to help us out. So whenever your rival locks on to Valentine, she's going to try to do an attack. If she does not hit Whale Core, then he'll shoot a laser, knocking out her shield, allowing us to attack her. So your goal, anytime that she's about to attack the Whale Core, your goal is to deflect, like here, or destroy any kind of debris, any kind of object that's going to be hitting Whale Core. Failure to do so will actually add another cycle, just because if you can't get the damage in, you have to do it all over. So not landing your attacks and failing to deflect and all that will lose you a good amount of time, probably about 10 seconds. Alta knocking out his Valentine quote on his very last one. Just has to get one more cycle in here. So he gets a basic debris, knocks it all out. Just have to wait till her shield goes out, and then he'll be moving on to the next level. So far it's been a pretty good race, pretty close. Decent RNG on both sides. Last race we actually did see Alta get almost a near perfect rival RNG, so that was really nice to see. Alright, Alta, go ahead and starting up to the next level. This is going to be the red sprite and blue jets. You'll see them in just a moment. So those little birds, those are the blue jets, and then you'll be fighting the red sprite as the main boss. So she just kind of hangs out there, and she shoots a bunch of rockets and like bullets. You want to get as many deflects as possible. She does have sudden movements, which prevents you from always getting a perfect deflect. So even if you do land the deflect, if she moves quickly as you deflect, you actually might miss her still. Quote getting some really good RNG here. Doesn't even really have to focus too much on the blue jets. Just really can just cap hitting red sprite. So that should help him out quite a bit for timing. A little bit more side scrolling. Taking damage actually does not really matter unless you die. Dying does reset you on the boss or the screen you're currently on. Right here, quick notes. This is Ninja, so Ninja just does a bunch of skydives and all that. So as long as you get like the long deflects like that, you get the most damage in. You get the bullets and you get a deflect. So Alta gets some really good RNG. Quote also gets some RNG there, but unfortunately does miss a deflect. Alta going to phase 2 of Ninja, landing all of his attacks. Hasn't even hit yet, so doing very well. Opting to go underneath Whale Core for just to make guarantee that he does not get hit by any quick dashes or dives. Quote unfortunately having some slight difficulties with his connectivity today. Oh wow, so they are extremely close now. So Alta going to be heading to hit the final boss alongside Quote. So they're going to be fighting Rex Rocket. We just like to call him Rocket Man. Well, at least I do. So Rocket Man shoots these very fast traveling rockets here, as you can tell. How they just soar through the sky. So here he is, Rex Rocket. So he has a couple of attacks. None of them are like too great. The biggest thing is you don't want any of the loose rockets stopping your bullets. You can get some deflects here, but there's not a ton to deflect, so that is unfortunate. Like they have a Gatling gun there, but going for the slash, you might be able to deflect 1 or 2 bullets. They might not even land. If you choose a large rocket, those are the best ones, like that. But fortunately for him, he didn't even need it. Jumps right down. Quote getting the large rocket for a kill there, going down. Alta and Quote right next to each other, both beating Rex Rocket pretty much side to side. So moving on to the next level. So from here on out, all the actual platforming levels get a lot trickier, a lot easier to die, and some players may actually opt to get some death abuse. Alta unfortunately getting knocked down there, losing a couple seconds. Let's see if Quote gets by. Quote doesn't make it on his first attempt. Alta starting up his Chaff Spammer. Quote now there. So Chaff Spammer makes a ton of adds. Little guy is there that you have to just shoot and blow up, so it really slows down your DPS. So getting rid of those as fast as possible is key. Bold players doing really well, getting a lot of really good RNG. Quote just blowing through those ads, really getting a lot of good shots and knocking out Chaff and moving on to the next stage. Alta just knocking him out, moving on to the next stage. Looks like Quote is having some difficulties again. I will see if I can get him back up and running. So we're gonna watch Alta try to get through the stage here. So we're gonna go ahead and just keep watching Alta for right now. Alta knocking out his Robo Guppy, so he'll be moving on to Robo Gibby and Stu. Sorry, I am trying to work with Quote to get his stream back up running. I do apologize. Okay, Quote is was able to get back up running, but unfortunately, since he had to fix the stream, we're gonna go ahead and just start when I'll take it to the next section. A small delay there for Quotes. Hopefully he's able to start here in just a moment. There we go. Alright, so this is Warship. It is a little bit trickier for just the platforming aspect, but there's a couple bosses in here that are a little bit tricky. Once you get it down, some sections are pretty simple, but unfortunately due to the RNG of just like how the level makes like the little blobs, it can be really, really tricky and kind of annoying. So this is segment slider. You want to get a good segment that opens up where you can get some damage in like underneath or on top of between the segments. Quote getting a really nice segment split there. Unfortunately, Alta not really having a ton of luck on this. Let's see if he gets a good deflect. It does, knocks out his segment slider. Quote, not too far behind. So Quo getting a really nice segment partition there. So you really want it, so anytime that you're able to get as much damage as you can in, that's really what it's all about. So it is pretty RNG based. Some of the like better players really can you know, like shoot through the areas, but unfortunately there's not a lot you can do. Alta gonna start on his Nemesis core here. So Nemesis core has 2 sections to it. So Nemesis core part 1, there's not a whole lot to say. Really just shooting them. If you can actually stand directly underneath of the main core, Alta taking a death there just to, you know, reset early. This allows him not to waste too much time on the fight and then die later on. Looks like Quote is not going to opt for a death. He's just going to see if he can survive and get through this part. So it is risky. He only has 1 or 2 health, so depending on what he gets hit by. Alta just opting because Nemesis core, one of those bosses that really does have some potential to kind of mess you up. He moves really quickly and he kind of stops on a dime and turns. But Quote just really getting through it here. It gets a good deflect, so he should be able to kill it right here as well. So Alta and Quote probably like a second or 2 behind. Both of them now blowing up the warship. Gonna try to get to the last bosses of the stage here. But moving on to the last 2 stages. So the platforming here is actually extremely tricky. There's the different orbs. If it has little balls inside of it, when you destroy those, it actually explodes and shoots those outwards. Quote did not do a death here, so he really has to be careful with his HP. If he gets hit too many times here, he actually has to reset and do the entire platforming section over again. So he's got to go a little bit slower or else he'd risk losing a lot of time. And since he is going for the safer strat, he definitely could not get here, or else he'd lose a lot more time on top of that. So they're going to be fighting Anti-Battalion here. Anti-Battalion can turn into multiple shapes and objects. So the one thing you really want is a Pac-Man followed by a saw. So anytime you can get a Pac-Man or a saw, that's great. They got 2 bullets here. Bullets really don't get you a lot of damage. You get some damage in, but then you get some deflects, but not a whole lot. Quo getting a Make It Rain, which is not very good. Alta getting a bullet, which is not very good. Man, both of the RNG for both players here, not good at all. The Shark's okay, you get some decent damage in, but really you want a Pac-Man like Quote just got, and hopefully he gets a purple Pac-Man. Nope, he gets an orange Pac-Man. Purple Pac-Man allows him to deflect, but unfortunately does not, and he has 1 health. As long as he's not getting hit here, boom, knocks it out. So Quo getting through that fight without getting hit getting hit once and able to pass them by with just 1 health. If he would have died there, he has to have the whole fight over. And Nemesis, Anti-Battalion is one of those bosses that takes a long time to kill, especially depending on RNG. So we're moving on to the last 2 fights. So they're gonna be fighting Valentine, which is the main antagonist per se for this game. So she has 4 stages: A, B, C, and D. So stage A is pretty simple. Really the only ones that matter are C and D for time saving. The rest is RNG and good movement. So Alta there just kind of moving so he doesn't hit a lot of extra ads, so he can get his bullets to hit her and not focusing on hitting just the extra cats and extra little eyeballs. So decent RNG for Alta. Quote's getting some as well. So that's a really good one. So I mean, they're both getting some good RNG. And there's not a whole lot you can do for the first couple stages. RNG is what it is. But the last 2 stages really is where you can make up your time. Let's see if Alta can get these deflects. Gets it. And Alta wrapping up B. Unfortunately, Quo having a little bit issue here. So Alta getting some, just falling off the map and hurting himself. What that does, it actually allows him to set up for a trick a little bit later on. So you can death skip a cutscene. So as soon as she enters, wow, Alta getting a really nice deflect there. So normally she can shoot orange and some purple bullets, and she only shot purple bullets. So by deflecting, he deflected a ton of bullets all in one go. This is unfortunate because you just lose a lot of time here for damage, but he does get a deflect there, and unfortunately he hit her while she was still in the portal, which does not allow for a stun. So shot that a little bit as I swung at it a little bit early. Quote, not too far behind. He also gets a portal. Alta going for a suicide here. As long as she responds with a shield, then you know he got the trick. So he does get the trick. If you do not have her respond with a shield, you do lose a ton of time and you have to redo that entire C. Quote, go for that death skip as well. He did it a little bit later, so he still had to watch some of the cutscene, but he did skip a lot of it. And Alta getting every single one of his taunts lined to skip that entire phase. Let's see if Quote can land the same thing. It is a really, really small timing. He does land it, so you have to time right at a specific time so that as she comes back with her shield, she immediately gets hit by being taunted. He does miss his last one. He should be able to knock her out here if he gets enough damage in, but he might need to do one more cycle. And just gets it. So they'll be both be moving on to the final stage. Alta gonna go and start. He's gonna have to knock out his rival and all of his giant machines. So this is Mantis Core. So he is from the first game. Really fun. Did get a deflect there, but unfortunately did not land it. Also knocking out Mantis. Quote, not too far behind. As long as he gets some decent deflects, he should be okay. Fortunately, him stabbing is just all lost DPS. It kills him right there, which is good. He actually did not want to get that deflect there, because then he has to finish that entire animation cycle, which is just a couple lost frames. So we're back at the return of Whale Core. Ooh, does get hit by the laser there, but luckily you shouldn't need all of your health. Quote rarely takes a ton of damage, so he should be able to get through this pretty well. You want to get as many deflects as possible. Unfortunately, it is just pure RNG on whether or not they spawn at the top, they spawn at the bottom, whether or not you're even able to get to them, and if you do get to them, when you deflect, is he even going to still be in that location to offer that deflect damage? Alta does knock him out really quickly, but not too far behind his Quote. Oh, Quote just gets him before he leaves screen, so you definitely don't want him to be back at 1 HP, and he leaves the screen. They have to wait for an entire cycle just for him to come back. So a lot of lost time, but luckily they both didn't have that. Also getting some decent RG, not many deflects. Does get a large one there, boom, good deflect. The deflect is worth it, even if you lose the time. Quote getting a nice deflect there. Usually if a boss goes off the screen, it's something you do not want. But if you get a deflect to do it, usually the damage that you get from it does make up for it. Quote, unfortunately, getting an off screen without a deflect. And unfortunately, he does get a chance there, but he does miss it, so he doesn't get back any of that time. Alta down to 1 health. He really has to decide here, does he want to go for a death save here just so he gets back his health? Yeah, he's going to go ahead and just take the free death and get back his health. Unfortunately, it's going to take a couple tries here. He is doing his best to kill himself, but unfortunately the boss wants him to live. So now they're both starting on the boss. The crawling core here. Quote have a really good setup, and he gets a deflect, so that will actually help him a lot for his speed. Alta really trying to get some shots in, but unfortunately he can't get a good angle. So Alta, unfortunately, just missing out a lot of damage just because he has to keep resetting his location. Quote, though, getting really lucky. He has a full straight shot right now, and he has a quick dive he can do and get right back up on the platform. So yeah, he's going to be able to knock this out really fast. Alta getting a deflect, so he's not too far behind. So now they'll both be moving on to the final boss, the Rival. Rival has 2 health bars, but it really does depend on the RNG that he gives you. So one thing you do not want is him to pull out a katana. If he pulls out the katana, then that means he's basically just going to deflect all of your bullets just like that. Alta getting really unlucky. He can try to slash him, but it's really risky as you can take a lot of damage really quickly. Quote getting a dive kick and does get the deflect, which allows for a stun. They're both getting a ping pong. Unfortunately, Quote does not land his, where Alta does. Quote getting another stun there. Unfortunately, he does get a katana, so all bullets are deflected. So losing a little bit of time there. And Quote wrapping up his run right there. The 26:07. Alta not too far behind. Alta not getting any really good RNG here. Really wants anything that he stands still and lets him just get some attacks and gets a ping pong, which is some decent damage, but doesn't really help too much. The stun is really nice. Let's see if he gets a good one. So when he pulls out pistols, it's not too bad because at the end he normally does a dive kick, which is a free kill. He had 1 health left, so if he would have taken 1 more hit, he'd have to do the full 2 health bars again. Alrighty. So, unfortunately, just due to the fact that Quote's having some issues with some connectivity and all that, we're going to go ahead and give that win over to Alta, just for the sake of, we're going to go ahead and end the stream here. But Quote, actually, when you were watching, you could definitely see that his times, and he really has the technique down, so he was doing really well, and close to the beginning, on the first race, Alta was ahead. But in the second race, you could definitely see Quote was actually pulling forward a little bit. So it was pretty close. So Quote actually could have really taken that second win. But unfortunately, just the fact that due to the connectivity issues, we weren't really able to see that full playthrough. So we're going to go ahead and end the stream here. We hope that you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to come over to Bleed Running on our Twitch channel, which is where we normally host our races. And we really want to thank Speed Gaming for allowing us to go ahead and host on this channel and let you guys all see Bleed 2. It is an indie game. It is really well done, really fun. What you saw here was just a new game, which means that you don't really have a lot of options between your weapons and all that. So when you go on freestyle, there's a lot of different techniques and all that we've developed. So we have a Discord channel, so feel free to check it out. If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me at Lord Sin for Twitch. Other than that, thank you for watching.